Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you getting started tutorial of ASP.NET Core. So first of all, just I want to show you how to create a new project in ASP.NET Core 6.0. So this is the first project, you can say, and create a new project using Visual Studio 2022. When you click on Visual Studio create a new project, then you can find it in the left panel recent project templates, languages, and also you can search ASP.NET Core, where you can find ASP.NET Core Web Apps, ASP.NET Core Web API, ASP.NET Core Empty Templates, ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. So in this video tutorial, I am going to add ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller, because a model is you can say that where we can design our database. View is represent for the UI part, and the controller is the logical part. So select ASP.NET Core Web Project Web App that is with the model view controller, and also you can search ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. So you just above the tabs and click to next. Now after that, you can see that here we have a getting started video. So just the project name will be getting started. Okay, click to next. And here you can see that here we have a framework that is .NET 6.0 long-term support. So select it, and authentication type is default none. So just take a default value that is none. And also we have individual accounts and lots of properties, and in the configure for HTTPS, enable dockers and etc. So just click to create button. So it will take few seconds to create a template for ASP.NET Core. So here you can say that Microsoft Visual Studio create a templates, and here you can see getting started templates. In the Solution Explorer you can see connected services, that is default open page, and here we have some dependencies, properties, www root directories, controller, model, views, and app settings, and program.cs file. I would like to share something about few these all structural templates for ASP.NET Core. That is, we have a get connected services, dependencies for, you can say that add a new get package, add project references. So here we have some project references in the framework. So these are for the dependency section, where you can add dependencies like project reference and then you get packages. In program.cs file you can see your pipelining there, as well as the services are there. In earlier version you can say that where we have some code like startup.cs file where your pipeline is there, but in the .NET 6.0 program.cs file contain service as well as pipelining inside it here. And you can see in the routing is there with the map controller routes. So name is default, controller is home, action that is index, and ID is optional parameter. So the default page, that is the home controller, where your client request this controller the first time. And you can say that when your project is ready and to build and deploy on your web server, then that first time your home controller will rendered onto the page on the browser. You can say any controller in the ASP.NET Core inherited with the controller class, and the default method in the controller class, that is index method, that is the return type is iAction result. And here we have return view. So respective view will be rendered. And if you want to see the review section, just go for the view, and the name is similar with your action name, with the controller name, that is home. Inside the action name there is the view, the like the index.css HTML, the action of the index.css HTML is index, like that. And that is the view for your index section method, that is index.css HTML. So here you can see in the view section, that is the pure HTML as well as the C# container. You can take C# language as well as you can take HTML language in the view section. And here you can see that the markup is you can take @ symbol, like the verbatim symbol of the C# in the code in the UI part in your, you can say that in your CS HTML page. So this is the routing. And here we have app.use authorization or routing, and these are the app related content that is for pipelining, and you can say that middleware in ASP.NET Core. And if you want to add dependencies, then you can use services. So all these are related to the builder.services in program.cs, that is use services, that is used in the earlier version, that is .NET 5.0. So when your first time your application will load, then you will see there is the default page, that is the privacy home, that is the default page, that is the home, and the navigation bar is the pop-up on the screen, that is getting started, home, privacy. And this is the routing, that is the controller name and that is the action name. Home is the controller name and the privacy is the action name. You can see in the default home controller, where your routing is default, that is controller equals to home, action is index. So the action is name is the privacy, because you want to click on the privacy action and you want to get the data related to your privacy. So just click on the privacy and regarding action will be called. So home is there and the default action method, that is the index, is there. So everything is clear. Now the second thing is there is in the routing, that the first path is the controller, the second parameter is, you can say that, action name. So close to home controller. If you want to add a new controller, just right click on the controller folders and you can say directory and add a new controller. The default is a empty controller, where you can see where you can ask controller name by default, that is the home controller one. And here we have a MVC controller empty, MVC controller with read and write actions, API controller, and lots of files are there. So select empty, a MVC controller empty, and the file and the controller name is the students. So here we go, and here we have students controller. So that is to add a new controller in the application, that is the students controller. So this is the namespace for the controller, and the class name is student controller, and that is inherited with the controller class. And here we have a IXN result, and that is the method, that is the index, and return the view class. If you want to change the name of the action method, then you can take this decision when you want to related data will be called, like the student bio, and then you want to pick the student information, then the you can say that action name is different with the index, that is student bio. And if you want to change the default routing, then you can place the controller name, that is student, and action name is student bio. and id parameter is the optional parameter, so you cannot need to change the id parameter in the routing, in the default routing. So here we have student bio. So if you want to add a new controller in the page, that is the previous section, you can see. And if you want to change routing, that is the default routing, then you can change the map controller in the program.cs file. So here we have some WSL, IIS Express, getting started. So just click on the green triangle button and getting started your application. Where you can see that the student bio is not found, the page that is the view page for your related search, and your ASP.NET compiler default search inside your views, inside your shared folder, inside the views student directory, and as well as the shared directory. So just add a new view for the action student bio. And you can see that inside the view section, where your controller name directory will be exist when after adding the view. So just I want to add a default empty action method. So here you can see that student bio.cs HTML is created by the scaffolding. So this is the scaffolding when a system generated view known as scaffolding views. And here you can see that under the student directory, under the view directory, here we have a student directory because the controller name is the student. And under the student directory, here we have student bio.cs HTML file, that is the view section of the student. So everything is clear. Now the second one, you can say that here we have a controller name, that is the action name, and that is the default parameter. Now the next thing is to add that is the model, because you know that how to add a controller in the controller section and how to create a new action method inside the controller. So that is the default controller is the home controller, and you are added a new controller, that is the student controller. Okay, so inside the model folder, here we have a file there. But if you want to add a new model, and model is related to your database table, so just add a new model and you can take some parameter inside it. So model is just like a class, you can say. So add a new class related to your student. So the class name is the student, and here you can see that the public class is student, and inside it you can take some properties, or you can say fields, and these fields are related to your database table columns. And here we have a student class, but in ASP.NET Core, when you create a database table, then table is related to your class, or you can say that table equals to model class. So student is a table name, or you can say that entity in the project. So in the default, if you want to take any parameter in the class, in the model section, the first parameter, that is the id, is actually related to your primary key. If you can take I and D both are capital, that means the key is the primary. And if you can take I is a small and instead of I is capital, then there is a no relation with the primary key. But if you can take I is a capital and D is small, that means ID is the primary key for the student table. That is automatically sensed by the ASP.NET compiler and created ID as a parameter, as a primary key in the parameter. So the next column is the name column, and here we have a name column with the type of string, and in the database table that will be rendered in the var and varchar characters. The next one is the date time property. Enrollment date you can take, and or you can say that enrolled. By default, getter setter is applied on the with the public property. So in the student class, here we have three properties like ID, name, and enrolled. So the first model is designed very well. Now if you can take another model inside the student class, inside the models folder, so you can take courses. So the class name is the course, or you can say that entity name is the course. So here we have a public class course. Prop integer ID, you know that ID is what? ID is the primary key. And inside the course we have take another column name, that is title. And you know that student is related to the course and course is related to the students. So between the student and the course you can take a relationship. So course code is also mentioned inside the table. So you can take lots of properties inside the models. Now after that you can click on the models folder, that is right click and add a new class, that is student course, because a student have enrolled in the multiple courses and course have multiple students. So in between the student and the course we have many to many relationship, and if you want to take many to many relationship in ASP.NET Core, then you need to divide that relationship between the one to many relationships. So in between the student and the course, where we have here we have student course middle table. Inside the student course need to mandatory take student ID as well as the course ID. Also you can take extra parameter if you want. So here we have a ID parameter, that is the default ID, or you can say primary key for the table. Other than you can take student ID, that is the type of integer, as well as the course ID. You can take student ID as well as the course ID. Student is the class name where you can see, and ID where I is a capital letter, and course ID is the course and ID. If you want to take class name with the course ID and student ID, you can take it. If you want to create relationship between the student and the course, then you can say that a course have enrolled in multiple students. So between the table you can take student and course. So a course have multiple enrollment of the student in the course. So I collection student course and student course. Similarly, the same thing you can take inside your student class. So here we have a ID and the title and the code. So course, student course enrollment. So inside the student course you can take course table as well as the student table for mapping, or you can say that for creating relationship between the course and the student table. So here you can see that the student with the student and the course with the courses. So the middle table will take a student as with the courses. In the courses table, here we have a collection, student course and enrollment. So this is the handling of many-to-many relationship between the tables in ASP.NET Core. So divide the problem into the two sections, that is one-to-many and many-to-one. So in the student table you also take I collection of student course and enrollment. So here you can see that I collection student course and enrollment. So this is the many-to-many mapping, or you say many-to-many relationship. So thank you guys for watching this video, and keep watching all other videos which is related to ASP.NET Core. This is the getting started with the ASP.NET Core 6.0 latest stable. Thank you very much for watching.